Hello, everyone. This is Wrestling Watcher, a YouTube wrestling channel that talks about professional wrestling. So, the main event of Night of Champions, it saw John Cena defend his WWE Championship against CM Punk. And the crowd was hot for all of this. They were hot for Cena and they were hot for Punk. They knew this was the last time they were going to see Cena for certain, and the crowd acted accordingly. They were hot all night. And this was, I remember those classic CM Punk versus John Cena matches from 2011 and 2012, and especially that early 2013 one on Raw, I believe it was in February of that year. And, Cena's 48 now. He'll be 49 next year. And I believe CM Punk is 47, either 47 or 48 as well. So he's right up there with him. And the two, it wasn't that classic match, but they definitely took their time. It was a good match. They built up to they knew where they were going, and they built up to it. There were finishers traded, and I do like the announcing of this match. It helped. Cole and Wade Barrett definitely work well together, and I think it showed in this match. And I think CM Punk looked great. Cena is still in phenomenal shape, even if he can't wrestle like he used to. He's still in phenomenal shape, and he still is. I feel like he's just a grandmaster of psychology, knowing all the little things to do to just get everything you can out of a match. And those two really built up to this. They built up to the end. When the ref was out, after, I believe it was Cena who went for a shoulder tackle. I believe he missed, and he knocked the ref out. And Punk hit a GTS. I believe he hit two of them within just a couple minutes, sort of thing. He kicked out of one, the first one Cena did, and CM Punk hit a second one. But I believe it was after the ref was knocked out, and so it was well timed, because then CM Punk faced the stage, and he sort of waved his hands to bring someone out, like, hey, bring out another ref. And then Seth Rollins and he comes on, and they come out, that group. I don't think they have an official name yet. Hopefully they get one. But they come out, and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed do some damage on CM Punk. And Seth Rollins stands in the ring, and he calls out a ref, and it's Charles Robinson. Charles Robinson ran down, and John Cena takes him out from out of nowhere. Just a massive shoulder tackle sends Charles Robinson flying. I believe he even put a post on X saying, "I am alive." But then Cena gets in, argues with Seth. There's a back and forth. Him and CM Punk then fight off the group. CM Punk asks for a handshake. John Cena gives him a hug. He gives a strange, evil look in the corner, similar to what he did with Cody Rhodes back at Elimination Chamber. Tries for the low blow. CM Punk blocks, and then Rollins hits CM Punk with the briefcase. Cena gets out of the way, curb stomp. Cena throws out Rollins, 1, 2, 3, victory. Rollins screws over Punk and gives a deathly sort of glare over to Cena, so who knows what's going to happen there. If he turns back babyface Cena before the end of the year, that could be an interesting last match sort of thing. So we'll see what happens, This was one of those, I definitely think it builds heat further for Punk and for Rollins. Whether or not that gets settled in some sort of Hell in a Cell situation, or whether or not they carry it out all the way to WrestleMania, time will tell. And I feel like the big WrestleMania match is going to be Rollins and Roman. I feel like that's where that's going to be heading. So, great last match. Not what those two used to do back in the day, 15 years ago or so, 14, 15 years ago, whatever it's been, but it wasn't going to be that, and it didn't need to be that. They put on a great story, a great, in-ring psychology match of, you didn't know who was going to win, but you knew they were building to something. You knew that they were carrying on a story. And from that perspective, I think it was very successful. The crowd was hot. They were hot for Punk. They were hot for Cena. And, Yeah, I think you've built more heat for a Rollins Punk story. And on the other hand, we know now that SummerSlam is going to be not CM Punk, but John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. And that's a different video, but I think we might be on our way to a double turn. Might be. But that's going to be a very interesting main event. I suspect the program and promos for that will start this week at some point, probably on SmackDown. And the ball will get rolling, and we'll see what happens. I thought it was a great event. I thought it pushed a lot of stories forward, and it built for what the rest of the year is going to be like in WWE. That's all for this one, folks. Thank you.